Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Insurance Town. I'm the mayor, Heath Sheeran, and the host of this podcast, and I am pumped you're here hanging out with me today because I have a good friend, and Emily Morolla, hanging out in the background. If you're watching, look at her beautiful face and stare at her and not me while I do the intro. I'm excited. I've got a new sponsor, a new partnership to introduce today in Goalie Nutrition. Goalie is a people-focused company on a mission to make health simple and delicious. In a world where nutrition can feel complicated and overwhelming, they've created products to make taking care of yourself easy, approachable, and enjoyable. I personally use this product, so I was pumped to be able to partner with them. I get the 3-pack that has the ashwagandha, the apple cider vinegar gummies, and the prebiotic and postbiotic, and it really helps me with my gut health, my mind, with my just my stress levels. It's just awesome. I feel good using it. So guys, go to Goalie or gogoalie.com/Heath and check it out and order some product. And let's make my new sponsor happy. Go check it out. Also, my friends over at Canopy Connect, they are the one-click solution to getting the deck pages you need to quote your prospects. And as you guys know, I love them, and I don't know what you're doing if you're not involved with Canopy Connect. Go to usecanopy.com/Heath and get your discount and your demo and check it out. Lastly, my good friends over at Mav, ditch the call center and go with Mav. It's a texting platform. You know, your clients don't like phone calls. They don't like getting those robo-dialers. You want to use a text platform that helps you with qualifying, with quoting, getting them in the door and connecting them with one of your producers, your agents, your CSRs. I love working with Mav. Go to hiremav.com. Tell them the mayor sent you. You'll love working with them. Guys, I've got to hurry up and get out of the way here so you can meet my friend, Emily. I'm going to bring her in now, and let's talk to her. Emily Morolla, what is happening, sis?
Insurance Town. I love it.
This is
I
awesome.
love those sponsors too. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And on a real like serious note though, thank you for your leadership and thank you for pouring into the industry and bringing a little bit of flavor. I mean, the mayor, we need a mayor. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah,
This is crazy. This is crazy. Like, you and I have been friends for a long time, and you didn't know that I was the mayor. So that's crazy. But that just shows
new
that
every day in the insurance business.
Say what?
We learn something new every day.
That's right. And it just goes to show that you and I's friendship is more, personal, and we talk more personal stuff, and we cry on each other's shoulders, and we talk about all the serious stuff there. So now, we're going to talk a little professional stuff. We'll get into a little bit about you.
Baseball, Mayor.
That's true.
Sir.
But I don't know how many times we've probably got really close to tears on our calls about things. But that's real life, man. Life happens.
Yeah.
But
I think birds of a feather, right? They tend to flock together.
100%.
And I am really glad that I was able to meet you, and I'm like so thrilled to just watch from the sidelines to see like what you've built, how you create community. I think that it's really important work. It's important for people to
stop
watch.
It.
It's important for it to be modeled out, right? Because you're doing it with a little bit of a modern flair, and I like that. That's right up my alley.
I know this is supposed to be about you, and you're sitting over here like, just stop it, quit. I want to highlight you and how amazing you are. You're stealing all that, I was going to talk about you on. And so I've grown to know and love you. And I think so much of you and all the things that you're doing. And so although I could spend a whole lot of time on your insurance career, I could spend a lot of time on your personal stuff. There's just so many places I want to go. So before we get too deep in this, you and I just chilling out and hanging out, can we take a quick walk down memory lane and tell me a little bit about you? You've been all sectors of the insurance industry. You've been involved in so many different things, and you have so many causes you care about. And one of them that I care about a lot, and it's reaching women in the industry, and that's helping them out, but also helping just anyone and everyone just to get in touch with who they are authentically and growing their own brand, all the things. So go back to the beginning and lead me up to where you are now and what you're doing and what you're up to.
Let's go back to memory lane. I love it. So I started in the insurance business and got introduced to insurance in 2003. I was in New York City. I was in college. I loved waitressing and bartending. Man, I love that kind of job. It fuels me. And I swear that was like the best training grounds before getting into the business, right? Because I could handle like a lot of numbers and I thrived on it. So I got introduced to the insurance world, underwriting. I was on Staten Island, and this was the time that Lower Manhattan was rebuilding, right, from 9/11. So it was a very, very interesting time just to be a young professional in New York City in the rebuilding of like Lower Manhattan and where a lot of the insurance carriers were. And I took full advantage of it, to be honest with you. I mean, it was fun. It was Lower Manhattan was
Good for
my
you.
playground.
Yeah.
And I got introduced to an industry that honestly sold me from the get. So I interned with
So it was
Chubb.
love at first sight for you.
It kind of was, because I interned at Chubb. It was Water Street. I mean, the salmon pants and the whale belts, a bit of that. But I got introduced to a really unique culture. I have an appreciation for underwriting. I don't want to be really doing the underwriting. I can do it. But I got in a really good position in that early like 2000s where companies were pouring into young talent and they were providing trainee programs. So I went through a Chubb trainee program. I went through a CNA trainee program. I went through a Gen Re trainee program as a property facultative underwriter. So I soaked it all up in the first couple of years of my like young professional life. Lower Manhattan, going back and forth, like Chicago, Lower Manhattan, and really learning from some of the iconic leaders that we see in the business now. And so I'm very fortunate to have gotten my start there in New York, kind of calloused, right? You got to not really punch in the face, but it's a bit of that, right? Emotionally.
Yeah. Makes you stronger.
A good training grounds for me. So that is how it started. And then when my husband suckered me back to Pittsburgh, which I'm born and raised, Pittsburgh, you probably are hearing the accent like flying out. But I've been here since 2009, and my career took a little bit of a different trajectory from the like carrier underwriting trainee world that I was living in New York. I had to get a little more grittier whenever I moved back to Pittsburgh because I wasn't making nearly as much money as I was making in New York. And the opportunities were not at all what I was used to. So at that point, I had to start to go inward. And that's a lot of what the work that I do today is about. Because before you get that full clarity for purpose and like let's go, and you know exactly where you're going, you got to go in first. So I think that was really looking back, like when it started for me. I got myself licensed. I got introduced to the wholesale space, like the E&S market. And I started to I'm a networker. I would do that for free. Top value for me. So I just did what I loved to do and connected with people and started building a network and getting exposed to all these beautiful, angles of our business, the wholesale side and the brokerage side. Once I got married.
Let me just say, like, for the audience just to know, these weren't just, working in those spaces. You were working with some of big names in our industry, from like Gen Re, Liberty Mutual, working with Assurex Global. And again, we don't have to get into those names specifically, but just to let the audience know, you were with the big players, and you were, making moves in big household name type, Liberty type names there.
Sure. I've been on small teams, very independent, very lean teams. And then I've been in big corporate. Listen, I love the big corporate, but it's just not for me, right? I'm likely a startup. I'm like a startup chick. My purpose is to inspire excitement around a unique shared cause or experience. And if that does not like kind of permeate with like what you see of me online and maybe what you know of me, then I don't know. I need to do a little bit more work on my branding.
No, I think
but yes, I love the business. I
Yeah.
played in the big ball games, and I've been like nervous as hell, having to like review my numbers with a global group of people. And then I've had to like kick it up and create it myself. I built a book of business for almost 5 years at one point. Like right after I got married, I got like strong enough and courageous enough to just do the sales thing because I was too scared to do it. I was like, I like that safe salary,
Sure.
predictable risk management kind of stuff.
But it's cool that you got out of your comfort zone and
I did.
decided to take on that task. That's awesome. So, real quick, like I said, you've been, as the underwriter, you've been a producer, as you just mentioned, you've been an executive, you've been an SVP, you've done the whole things. What ties all that together? What do you think is that like through line for you in all of that? Obviously a love for the industry and a passion for the industry, but what would you say? And I'm trying to goad you into a specific answer, and I think you're going to say it anyway, but what is that for you?
So the through line for all of it, and I think it was a self-awareness practice, honestly, for me, just to like learn more about my strength zone and where I should honestly be playing, because I'm not exactly like I don't camouflage well.
Yeah.
And so playing in my strength zone and making sure that it's very clear, right, where I can bring like impact is very important to me after 25 years in the insurance business. The through line is that in our in this business, we aim to be trusted advisors. There's a trust that we have to build, and we're all unique, right?
Yeah.
But how do we build that unique trust? And I knew the self-awareness and through every role is that I got to get closer to the people. I got to get closer to the client, and use my communication gifts to be able to build trust. So I know where I'm at, where I'm going very, very clearly. I have purpose clarity on where I'm going in my career. It just took me 25 years. So for those out there, of your listeners who are like, I just don't know what my strength zone is. I don't feel like I'm in that role today, but I'd like to get closer. I want to encourage them that this business has so much variety.
100%.
That there's literally a place for like everyone. It's just you got to find where your strength zone is.
1,000%. And I know, again, knowing you and the conversations we've had, I feel like you and I, again, birds of a feather in the value of the relationship and the value of, networking and building this relationship, pouring into other people. And again, knowing you, it's never been about Emily. It's always been about pouring into other people, almost to a detriment sometimes. Like for me, I know that's my through line for me is I'm almost, relationship to a fault sometimes on me. But
Yeah.
I wonder your thoughts on that and if you would agree with me on that.
Absolutely. I feel like it triggered something in me because, but that's real. And that like is like data, right? For us to just like observe and understand the why behind it. I am not a well camouflaged person. So in an industry that's very conservative, there's a little bit of a shock factor. And I realized that. And at this point, I don't care, because I know the value that I bring to the table. But 20 years ago, that was a hard lesson to learn, right? So in 2026, I think it's really easy in a conservative culture and industry to say, you really shouldn't be so showboaty, right? Like you should be a little bit more camouflaged, but I buck that.
Sure.
I buck that notion because to be a trusted advisor in today's world, you've truly got to, number one, know what you're talking about, and you got to check your motives. I check my motives. I always have. So what you just said is that it's never really been about me, but it might to the naked eye come across like that's quite showboaty, but it's actually to be of value to the one particular person that needs to hear what is coming out of me. That super vulnerable human thing that I maybe have walked through, they need to hear it. So I've had to wrestle really, really, it's been a hard wrestle the last couple of years in stepping out and doing more of like sharing thought leadership, sharing my journey, the goods and the bads, the human elements, because it's not about me. It's about who I'm building it for. It's about legacy and whoever needs to hear like the message that's coming out of me. And if I silence that just to kind of be compliant in a very conservative industry, that is not being a servant leader. It's
Right.
not being a mission driven messenger. And that goes against everything that I stand for. So I hope that was clear. But
Oh, 1,000%.
yeah,
And I think, for the audience listening, and I hear this a lot from DMs and emails and the conversations I have with the community that I've built. And, there's a sense out there of people that are struggling with some of those things you talk about. And there's a sense of people, with this, whether you call it a hard market, soft market, whatever it might be. I say transitioning market, I say the new normal market, whatever you want to call it. There's been people that have been way up here. They're now knocked down way down here. And there's people that have been down here. They're like, took advantage of the market and they're up here. But again, there's been the whole point being there's no stability right now. There hasn't been since 2020, really, since we started pandemic era. And there's a lot of, I hate to say it, I mean, the buzzword, the mental awareness, the mental health and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's real. As much as society has turned it into a buzzword and even almost turned it into a way to make a profit. But at the same time, there is a real level of concern there. There's a level of people battling with some of that. And I know that's a platform that you kind of stand on, that you care about.
yeah,
And I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're helping people navigate through that, how you're navigating through that yourself.
sure.
Because throughout your
Absolutely.
career, you've been a lot of different places, and some of those by choice and some of those maybe not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think that there's seasons for everything, right? So there's just a time and there's a place for certain environments and certain groups of people. And we have to be really, like, we have to get really used to opening our palms up very loosely and just keeping those things that are entrusted to us for those seasons, but not clinging too tightly because we have to be open to the newness, right? So that's what I will say to just like the ebbs and the flows of my career trajectory. And I am not from the school of thought that you are loyal to one carrier and you just, that's where you stay. How does that sharpen your skill sets if that is the plan?
Right.
So that has not been my trajectory. I really have tried to stay like a good 3 to 5 years in all of my roles, but I'm on a growth trajectory. So I look back reflectively over my career and I'm really glad that I made the moves when I did and I was open to the seasons and the shifting that was happening for me. And that's where I'm at currently, is that this new transition is positioning me to be able to serve an industry I really care about.
Sure.
And we are best positioned to serve the person we once were. So alongside that, and just to answer your question, is that I think the whole world was handed a bunch of baloney 5 years ago, and we were placed in environments that we were not used to, told to hibernate, isolate, and it's been a clunky 5 years of kind of unwinding all of that. And I think ultimately with AI sweeping in so quickly in the insurance business, it's so important right now for people to be like unshakable, like their identity unshakable, because once they get that solid, when they come to the marketplace and they share what it is that they do professionally, all of the instability, it doesn't exactly shake them, right? And so like that identity work is really important to me. You mentioned a bit about like, or I said that like you triggered me a bit with that question. I'm transporting myself back to the days where I was in the carrier space and in like executive leadership. And I remember viscerally feeling like every day I was coming to that job, no doubt getting paid, but every day I would come into that job.
Yeah.
And then having to prove my value over and over again.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was having to, like, it didn't matter what wins that I experienced. It didn't matter what like built up to my colleagues within the same team or maybe different profit center. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, you have to prove your worth, prove your value, right?
Yeah.
Underwriting, distribution, this group against that group. And it became like tiresome because it was like, I know my value, but I don't actually know how to like clearly communicate it. And then once I clearly understand it for myself, use that influence to make all teams swimming in the right direction. So that hit on a couple of the things that you had mentioned and like the whys behind the identity and like speaking value, because I think that applies to everybody. Every one of us wears an insurance hat. We have to be able to clearly communicate our value to our client. And I don't know how good of a job we do in our industry.
And again, going back to the way you said that earlier of communicating that value without being showboaty or not being braggy, but also being able to show the value that we bring. And I'm a big proponent of that, whether it's keynotes or this podcast or, ebooks I've written of leading with value first and knowing what that is individually and professionally to be able to say, here's my value. And again, I love that you talked about earlier, my strengths are this, and I'm leaning into those strengths.
Yeah.
And knowing that, and a lot of people may say on this, listening, like, I don't know what those are, and, I don't know how to tap into those things. And I know, again, this is my show, so I can do what I want, but I know another thing that you and I have in common with a lot of our listeners too, is that idea of having a faith, having a higher power, having, a belief in God, in Jesus, in, a religion, a spiritual force, however you want to call it. For you and I, we share that in common, and that's kind of a through line for us as well. And so I wonder, just asking you the question of what does that play in your life? What does that role of a relationship with God, with a higher power play for you?
So,
and I'm trying to say it's politically correct, but also knowing it's my show, I can do what I want. I don't have anybody telling me I can't.
Whatever it is that you want. I'm a person of faith.
Yep.
And I am very proud to be a person of faith. And it is in my top 5 values.
Yeah.
So I shared that like connection is probably like a top value of mine. Uh-huh. And values are so important. I'm talking about them like, like they're my best friend, but literally I need to remind myself every day of my core values, my top values, which are faith, family, connection, freedom, fun. And every one of those things, that's how I make decisions. That's innately organic.
That's your board of directors.
I make decisions. Everything is around that.
Yeah.
So faith and connection probably are tied, right? For like, I'm like innately a connector, but my faith is so strong. So it is wrapped in everything I do and the lens in which I see and operate in.
And I love that. And I appreciate it because, again, that's your board of directors. You go to those things when you make decisions.
Yeah.
And, I think it should be that for whether you're on the carrier side as an underwriter or, a claims person, or if you're on the agency side or as a producer, agency owner, CSR, whatever it might be, or you're a tech vendor, wherever you're at, there's so many different, that's what I love about our industry. There's so many ways that you can be, a part of our industry, and there's so many different hats you can wear. And you and I both have worn a lot of those hats. And I think, again, being able to lead with value, and I think the rest of it will take care of itself if you're leading with your value, your core values. And I always tell people, to put everyone else you're working with over yourself and thinking about how you can provide the best value to them, then everything else will work out for you on the back end. And I don't know. I just think that for me, when I talk to my kids, we always, since they were kids, I've always taught them this principle of joy, Jesus, others, you, and putting Christ first, others, and then yourself. And so That's just something. And again, you could apply that to, a non-faith thing if you wanted to, putting others above yourself. But I love that you lead with that as well. And one of the things I would love to ask you about as well is a lot of people, you brought up your carrier side and your experience in the E&S side and experience in the brokerage side of, when people talk about it, when I talk to agencies on this, or I'm consulting with agencies, they all say, we've got great carrier relationships. We've got great relationships with our agents, or we have great, whatever it might be, relationships out there. But what does a real, authentic relationship look like? Whether it's carrier agency, whether it's, agency and client, any kind of relationship. What's a good relationship in 2026 look like?
A consistent one.
Love that.
Consistently showing up, uniquely you, and doing what you say you're going to do, being honest about it.
Yeah. And that's been a quote buzzword, so to speak, of that, authentic and be your authentic self and whatnot. And I think some people have used that as, I'm being authentic, but yet they still only share their highlight reel on Facebook or on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it might be. And again, some of that is just because people don't want to share their intimate side or their, vulnerable side. But at the same time, I think you still have to have that consistency and that vulnerability and be able to show that. And again, from the very jump of, mine and your friendship, it was very vulnerable. It was very like, we just ripped the Band-Aid off in the beginning. It was like, here's my ugly side. Here's my ugly side. Let's talk through it. And we formed a genuine friendship in that. And I will always value that. And I don't get to see you and spend time physically with you and your family, and you don't get to with mine. But I feel like we have that family, brother, sister type relationship because you lead with that authenticity. You lead with that.
Right.
And I would probably figure a lot of your friends and family feel that way about you.
Yeah. Listen, I am so warm, and that could go against me. Certainly.
Very well. Yeah.
But I know my values.
Yeah.
And so I have a presence framework, because being present, right? That's how you make people feel.
Yeah.
And that matters, being a trusted advisor.
1,000%.
It really does matter. So my warmth might be a little too much for a very conservative industry.
Yeah.
But I too have a place in this industry, and I have a unique skill set that allows for me to teach other people on how to open up and be more vulnerable themselves. And I believe that with my framework that I bring my clients through, values, we start with values. If you do not know what your values are, you're not going to be able to align to who you authentically are and really show up and people believe you. So it's like we start with the values, then we got to regulate ourselves. But the third floor of the presence elevator is the embodiment. And that's like where the alignment to the values and then who you uniquely quirkily are. That's whenever
you just make up a word. I think you just made up a word, quirkily.
I like making up words.
I think it works.
You can steal it if you want to.
I think I will. Okay. I think I will. Quirkily.
It's a deal.
If you like that, let's put a little comment in the YouTube chat there. But yeah, quirkily is great. I don't know how you'd spell that, but yeah. So tell me, I want to fast forward because I want to get to this before we get off here. Tell me, I got 2 or 3 more I've got to get into. Tell me about the Blazer Society.
Yeah. The Blazer Society, that's my business. I can't even believe that I'm actually a business owner, but actually I can believe. I'm 100%, I've always been a business owner. I just didn't know it. So That's my baby. I spoke a little bit about my love for the insurance business, and we are best served to serve the person we once were. So the Blazer Society is built for a very isolated mama in the middle of a pandemic who's like, I could teach and facilitate masterminds in an island space environment. So that vision and idea combined with a lot of the work I was doing a couple years ago in leading a global women's network and getting in front of a lot of people and speaking to them, which I was not professionally trained to do. So that's not fun. Like the red chest, the, full
Yeah.
red face experience, it got old. And for me, I was like, all right, I'm going to go and equip myself so that I can grow up and out of this and not be so nervous
Yeah.
and like dysregulated
I'm gonna
all
I'm
the
gonna
time.
dig in. I'm gonna dig into that with you in a little bit too. But tell me, because don't worry, I'm gonna put you on the stand on that one too. But tell me a little bit about more about the Blazer Society and what you're doing for folks in that. Because if you guys don't go to blazersociety.com, right? Yeah,
It's blazersociety.com
go
and
check that
we're
out
working
because
on emilymorolla.com. So
well, that website's great. I've been to it and I've been surfing around on it throughout. Once you got that up. But tell the audience that's listening, because you talk about clients and you talk about things like that. What are you doing at the Blazer? What is it? What kind of motivated that? Just wherever you want to go with that. Give me a couple of minutes on that.
sure. Yeah. So all that work that I just spoke about, getting myself
Yeah.
equipped and speaking in front of all these people and women and having to see around corners, quite frankly, and being really good at discussing the challenges that were real and relevant for women globally in the insurance business. It opened my eyes up to the need. And it actually opened up my life to people reaching out to me all across the globe,
Yeah.
sharing with me their stories. And I'm like a big mama bear. I'm a mom of 4 boys. Like I just that got ignited in me. And so the Blazer Society, I guess, is the space that I created where I couldn't boil the ocean. Where I was told that I couldn't boil the ocean, Emily, I was like, I'll boil it over here on the side, right? This is intended for young, well, I shouldn't say young, 30 to 40-year-old emerging leaders, women leaders who are in growth mode. And they've got a problem. They're feeling a bit overlooked. And they don't exactly know what that is, right? Like, why am I feeling overlooked? Or why am I not getting the invitation to go to the meeting? Or why am I not getting asked to speak or lead this meeting? Why did I get the deal? What did I do? I blew it, right? They're feeling a bit overlooked. So I work with them as a coach and I bring them through a presence framework, right? I help them own the room. And this is like an authentic, unique thing where everybody uniquely is made for impact. But do you know what that impact is? Like, are you purposed? Do you have that purpose clarity? Because that's really where like I fell short and got lost in 25 years of like trying on new things and gaining a ton of skill sets, but like fulfillment matters. It turns out fulfillment matters. So that's the work that I do. I'm not opposed to working with men, but we are just best suited to serve the person we once were. So that's what the
Well,
Blazer Society is. It's my coaching house. It's my outlet. And my dream is to be able to, well, first of all, we've got custom blazers, honey. Every woman deserves a custom blazer, like
that's awesome.
designed and measured
That fits
specifically
you.
to them.
Yeah. So what I love is going back to my youth of Little Rascals. It's not the He-Man Woman Haters Club, or
No.
Men Haters Club. It's not about bashing on men or the pale, male, and stale. It's more about empowering women to be their true. That's what I love about it, because a lot of these that come out, and again, it's my show. I can say what I want, but it's not about women bashing men or
No,
men
that
bashing
icks me
women.
out really, really badly. Like, this is about equipping women to
Get it, girl.
to totally be able to like tap into who they are uniquely. And I don't care if you're a loss control person, a claims person, an actuary, a producer, an entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur. I don't care what you do. You sell something and you are uniquely made. So like there's only one of you. How do we sharpen you up? We give you permission. We give you a custom blazer and we access you so that you can come to the table and work collaboratively with all men, women, all. That's like, this is not a divided thing.
Right.
This is we need to get equipped, and women need a little bit of a different kind of like handling. And that's just the truth. So I'm creating that space for them, but there is like no like male female divide stuff here. No, that's not what we stand for.
So we've heard a lot of confidence out of Emily Morolla, and we've heard a lot of really positive self-talk out of you, but that hasn't always been with Emily Morolla. And I'm going to peel back the curtain on this just a little bit. And if you don't want to answer it, we will edit it out. But tell me again, working at some very large organizations, and you've been put in positions to give presentations for, large audiences, to, give presentations on Zoom meetings or in board meetings or whatever it might be. And you didn't always feel comfortable in that. Tell me about that transformation. You're like, first of all, tell me the first time you were asked to give a big presentation in front of a room, that feeling that you had to where you are now, which I know you still have those butterflies and whatnot, but tell me about that very first time.
Well, I think that like listen, like we're human. It's like a human thing. Some of the best world-class speakers still get nervous.
100%.
It's a human thing. Like, congratulations, you're human. So once I like said that to myself over and over again and kind of saw it for what it was, that helped regulate my nervous system a bit. Now, listen, I know I'm high octane. Like, this is how I am all the time. Like, I've lived
100%.
with me my whole life, honey. I know that this is how I am, but there's nobody best positioned to be able to teach other people how to regulate your nervous system than this girl. And so to answer your question, it's like a combination of like the throat punch, like a throat punch and like I'm sick to my stomach, but like I had too much caffeine. And I can't tell you where this was, but like I was asked to get up on a stage with a lot of people that were very, very senior. And I was scared out of my mind, right? Scared out of my mind. And there is a leader, and I can't say who it is, but he's got a fun personality. And he came over to me, tongue in cheek, before I go up on stage and was like, "Don't F it up."
But that probably relaxed you, honestly.
It was the best, most like, I'll never forget it, put it that way. And so I think the gist is we're human. We all feel these things. We literally all feel these things. And when you feel them, congratulations, you're human.
And lean into that a little bit. But and that's why I wanted that curtain pulled back a little bit, because people that listen to you right now for the last, 40 minutes on this show, they're thinking, there's no way I could get that confidence she has. There's no way that I could tap into that. I can't be Emily Morolla, that confidence that she has. But you haven't always been this version of Emily Morolla like this. You had to go through some of that. And still to this day, you probably go through some of that. But, that just shows the power of you, your testimony, who you are as a human being, as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, a sister. I just think it speaks to your character and who you are as a person.
I think that, listen, I've got a big personality and I know that. And I've had to harness that, right? I've had to train that, because if connection really is a top value of mine, I can't run everybody over every time I like meet them, right? And that's an awareness practice. So again, there's nobody better. Don't tell me I can't do anything, right?
Right.
So like I've built this resilience inside of me from a young age, because I had some challenges, growing up. I wasn't the smartest kid. Like, I struggled in school, right? I am ADHD purebred. I don't even need to say it. It's like I demonstrate it. And that is me. That's all of me. And I'm okay with that. And so I've learned how to create a narrative that suits me. And I don't allow other people to create a narrative about who I am and the strengths I bring to the table and the value that I bring. And so that really is work that's important for me because everybody uniquely has their own story too.
100%.
Pain and like resilience mixed together, and that's what makes it powerful. So how do you tap into that? Take off the mask. Because once you get over the fear, taking over the mask and just starting to be real honest and then sharpening your story, that's when you connect.
And I'll tell you another connection, using the word connect there, that you and I have that we've connected on, is someone that means a lot to me and you both. You actually know the person or have met them, I think, is old John C. Maxwell, Mark Cole, the team over there at John Maxwell, which is such a respected name in our industry. There you go. She's holding up her cup for those who are listening. Tell me what that has done for you. What's that meant for you to be a part of his team and be a part of his coaching, to be a speaker in that? It goes beyond speaking, but there's so much more about being a part of that organization.
So it's literally been the biggest blessing of my life.
You're going to cry on me, are you?
What's that? No, there's no crying in baseball. Okay. We're serious business. Biggest blessing of my life. Personally and professionally. I literally can get on the phone and talk to Mark Cole. Like I can learn from Mark every Tuesday morning, and it's one of my favorite things to do. You know why? Because he's a leader that I want to follow. I did not actually know who Papa John was up until a couple years ago. As I started to go through a lot of healing and just growth journey on my own.
Yeah.
I got introduced, and I truly do believe that, like, the Lord said, you need to know who this person is. And then you need to start to study and read his books.
Yeah.
Why? Because this is a person that you should follow. These are legs to legacy that you need to carry forth. And so
I like that.
I just said, okay, he was being referred to as the GOAT. I'm like, all right, who's the GOAT? Listen, I'm a boy mom, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
You better be really like sweet if you're talking GOAT, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, who's this? And let me tell you, my life is so blessed for what he did, for what he built. This man is still writing books today, and he is incredibly active. I was on a call with him a week ago, teaching, like sharing frameworks, and he's built an entire community of these people that they literally are leaders that I want to follow. And so I am so glad to know that it's not just a thing that like people talk about, but it's real. Like there's actually real people who are modeling out incredible integrity, incredible faith, and just resilience, all of the things. I am so blessed to be plugged into that and to have that 6 days a week that I get to learn and just grow myself through.
Unreal. I love it. And I appreciate you sharing that. Last question I want to wrap up with, and there may be another one, who knows, but if someone's listening right now and they do feel that stuck feeling, or they feel, as you mentioned earlier, maybe they feel overlooked, male or female, maybe they're feeling like they're on that hamster wheel, whatever it might be. They're talented. Maybe they're working really hard, maybe whatever it might be, but just not getting that, whatever that is, that goal they want. Where should they start?
So did you know that some of the most incredible high performers, we've got the Olympics going on right now, like them bobsledders, that's freaking cool. I want to do that. Seriously. They all have a coach. Okay. Best in the world. You better believe they got a coach. There is somebody in their ear that is annoying and holding them accountable, because we're human and we need that. So that's the first place, is your mindset shift. That number one, you're feeling stuck or you're feeling overwhelmed, or this is just not where you want to stay. Okay, that's data. What are you going to do about it? And the next thing you need to do is start to do that inner work. Like, what's your values? Those are your North Stars. What matters? And then we build from there. And third, I beg your listeners to do this, because it's really, really easy to get stuck in environments that are like toxic, not good. You got to get in the right environments around the right people who are speaking the right things into you, not negative, not critical, but who are going to hold you accountable, but lift you higher. And so those would be like my off the cuff advice.
Thank you. That was awesome. And I appreciate that. I knew when I brought you on, this high octane person, that you were going to bring so much value to the program. And so I appreciate that. You may become the new mayor of Insurance Town, and I just may lose my job. But I truly appreciate.
I can be a backup dancer if you need me to be.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
doing a bit of backup dancing this coming weekend at one of my events. So, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm becoming a headliner. What can I say?
Love it. Thank you for number one, your friendship. Like, audience, just hang out a minute, because I'm just going to talk to Emily as my friend here. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for just being my sister, being someone that, we can bounce ideas off of. We can cry on each other's shoulders. We can laugh a lot. We can just play off each other's energy. Like, thank you for your friendship. It really means a lot to me. Now, audience, you can come back in. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for, coming on and hanging out with us for a little bit. I wish we could spend more time together, but I know you're a busy lady, and we've got stuff going on. I've taken enough of your time already. Thank you for being here and hanging out.
Thank you. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, last but not least, I am the client director for North America for the ISC group. This is important stuff.
Yes.
And so I have had
what is the ISC group?
I have the privilege of bringing this and trying to breathe some new energy into the U.S. markets for the ISC group, which is an incredible professional and personal development opportunity for women leaders in the insurance and financial world. So, having said that, we have incredible corporate accounts, but we need some more. I need some new friends. So if you are interested in learning more about how you can bring these types of resources to your women leaders in your insurance and financial houses, providers, I would love to chat. So we'll leave the information. And thank you again, Mayor. I salute you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.